Hey everybody, what's up? Tim with this week's Magnetic Moment. Hope you're doing phenomenal and crushing it. Thanks so much for watching. Title for today's shoot is Overthinking Killing Your Happiness? And this comes to us from the quote that got posted earlier in the week that simply said, overthinking is in fact killing your happiness. So why do we overthink? Why do we find ourselves consumed in our thoughts? Why do we spend so much time going over things again and again and again and processing them again and again and again? And in fact, a lot of times becoming almost in bondage to those thoughts and to that process and unable to break free and continually just thinking and not being able to stop. Well, the reason is because we have a need for control and we have a need for certainty. And when there isn't certainty and we don't feel like we're in control, we try to create it. We try to figure it out. So we think and we think and we think and we try to process and process and process. But the bottom line is if we knew the answer, we would have it. So overthinking is really an exercise in futility, and it actually moves us further away from the answer, because as we process, we come up with more questions and we come up with more ambiguity, and it just moves us further and further away from where we want to go. So how do we break out of that rocking chair of overthinking? Rocking chair being we sit there and we work and we work and we work at it, but actually get nowhere. Just like sitting in a rocking chair, overthinking has very, very little benefit and actually hurts us. So there are a couple ways and a couple things you can do that when you practice them will allow you to not only come up with an answer for what you're looking for, but it will also allow you to break free of the habit of overthinking. First thing that I found to be helpful is go with your gut. So whenever you're trying to figure something out, whenever you're trying to come up with some certainty or come up with some kind of conclusion or resolution, what does your gut tell you? What does your initial gut instinct say to you? Many times our gut is right, but we ignore it because we think we don't have the skills and the knowledge to really know off of just our intuition what the right answer is. And the fact of the matter is, the more we practice our intuition, the more we honor it, the more we listen to that voice down deep inside, the more it speaks to us. But by turning it off and trying to tune into the rational part of our brain and trying to process it, we actually diminish our ability to use it. So I would challenge you, write down your initial impression, write down your gut instinct, see what it comes up with, and then come back around later and see how oftentimes you're right, because a lot of times you're right out of the gate. We just don't honor that. Second thing we need to do when we're overthinking is we need to remove ourselves from the situation. We need to give ourselves the emotional and mental space to process whatever it is. And we need to do something different. We need to work out. We need to go to a theater or go to a show or spend time with family or friends or sing or dance or have fun or do whatever it is, and give ourselves that mental vacation, because that allows our subconscious to seek out the answer. That allows our mind to think about things without pressure, without any obsessiveness to it, and gives us the space and the time to process it. And a lot of times when we do that, we find that what our intuition said from the very beginning is in fact right. But you need to give yourself the time and the space to do that. And if you're still having trouble with thinking and you're still in bondage to it, you got to start speaking. You got to start speaking out loud, because when we speak out loud, our mind stops to hear what our mouth has to say. So you can sing, you can start talking about how great your day is, the things you're thankful for, whatever. But once you start talking, it disconnects the thought. So if you're having trouble stopping to thinking, talking is one of the best ways to do it. Singing is one of the best ways to do it. And then finally, we have to focus on having the answer as opposed to not having the answer. So many times when we're overthinking, we're saying, I don't have the answer. I can't figure this out. So we try to push and push and push and figure out the answer. Well, our focus is 100% on not having the answer. And as long as we continue to do that, we're going to not have the answer. It's going to reinforce itself. But once we start to say to ourselves, I'm figuring this out. It's okay that I don't know it now, but the answer's coming. It's going to come right at the right time. It's going to come exactly when it's supposed to. Guess what? We are focused on the result, not on the lack of the result. And the answer is going to come, and it's going to come in its own time. So if your happiness is gone because you're overthinking, and that's what overthinking does, it robs you of your happiness. It puts you in that continual state of ambiguity, uncertainty, anxiety. Get over onto the other side of things. Start to practice speaking to the issue. Talk to it. Talk to yourself. Tell yourself you have the answer, not that you don't have the answer. Start to practice the things that we talk about, like honoring your intuition. Start to practice removing yourself from the situation and give yourself the time and the space, because those are the ways to not only come up with the answer for whatever it is you're specifically looking for, but it also will allow you to practice the habits that will break overthinking so that you no longer need to be a slave to it. And you can get your happiness back, your joy back, your confidence back, your certainty back. And whenever anything comes and you start to find yourself going that direction, put into place what we talked about, and you will find it works, and it works big time. So Tim, with today's magnetic moment, if overthinkingness is stealing your happiness, stop it Practice what we talked about and you'll see the results. Have an awesome, awesome day. I'll talk to you soon.